Good morning, fifth grade. Welcome back to the new year 2021. It is January 5th, and this is your lesson for Science Modeling Matter Day 1. The instructions say, Step 1, please watch this entire video carefully. Step 2, then open up your copy of Modeling Matter Lesson 1 Student. Read all about food scientists. Step 3, when you get to slide 8, look at the 4 photos, put an X in the box if you think yes, food scientists do the listed job, or leave it blank if no, you think they don't. Step 4, follow along with the instructions to learn about what happens when 3 mystery substances are combined. Then, on slide 15, explain why something different happened in each cup when the substances were mixed. This assignment is due by Friday morning at 10 o'clock in the morning. Make sure you attach your completed work and turn it in. On Friday, we will have a special science Zoom class in the afternoon. Please make sure to bring your mystery substance to our Zoom class on Friday afternoon. Let's take a look at what we've got. Modeling Matter, Lesson 1. On the cover slide of your assignment, please begin by typing your full name, first and last, today's date, and your homeroom. This is Lesson 1 of Modeling Matter. This information tells you more about what we're going to be studying during this science unit. This unit covers our next generation science standards. We'll be focusing on structure and properties of matter. We'll be looking at chemical reactions. We'll be developing and using models, and then constructing our explanations. We will obtain, evaluate, and communicate scientific information. And we're also going to study the concepts of scale, proportion, and quantity. So that has to do with how much and what size in proportion. On this slide, there's more information for your families and caregivers, as well as home resources that they can use to support your science learning while we are still continuing our distance learning. You'll see that there is a Modeling Matter Home Family Overview letter in English, and the Spanish version is currently available. I sent it through Parent Square. There's also ideas for home science investigations, mini labs that you can do in your kitchen, and extensions. And there's also an Amplify Science caregiver site with support for your families, your caregivers, and your parents in both English and Spanish. Lesson 1. Have you ever wondered about your food? For example, what makes Pop Rocks explode in your mouth? And why do chilies burn your hands and your mouth? Why do onions make you cry? And do boba pearls really come from the ocean? Everything you eat comes from a world of weird and wacky science, which means that all the questions I just asked can be answered by science. We are starting a new unit to learn about chemistry. Chemistry is the study of matter, which is the stuff that everything around us is made of, including food. Let's take a moment and look at these photos. What do you notice? And what do you wonder? As we start our new science unit, study these photos. They are all photos of food being prepared. Write down one thing that you notice, one item that you are wondering about, and if any of the photos remind you of anything. So as I said, all three of these photos show food preparation. This first photo shows washing cheese rind at Cowgirl Creamery. The next picture shows cooling chocolate and smoothing it out to make a candy bar. And finally, this picture shows scientists testing eggs to see how the color of food affects our tastes. Now, we may not find the answer to questions we have from the food pictures above, but we will take a close look at food, not just as something tasty to eat, but also as something interesting to study. This is slide 8. On this slide, you are going to respond to the prompts that you see in this table. Step 1, look at the 4 photos. Here's photo 1, here's photo 2, here's photo 3, and here is photo 4. These are all photos of food scientists doing their research. Discuss which photos show or suggest evidence of the type of work that food scientists do. And then put an X in the box if you think, yes, food scientists do the listed job, or no if you think they don't. And it is okay to put an X in not sure for any category that you are not sure about. For example, look at these jobs. Based on the photos that you see here, do you think that food scientists ask questions? Yes or no? Do you think that they investigate to answer questions? Yes or no? Do they make predictions? Yes or no? Do you think food scientists use math? Yes or no? Do food scientists make models to understand something that they can't see in real life? Yes or no? Do food scientists make a claim and then support with evidence from their research? Yes or no? Remember, you are going to complete this chart by putting an X as your response in either yes or no to each job. Here is a famous food scientist. He calls himself a chef, but he practices science like the people in the photos you just studied. His name is J. Kenji Lopez Alt. He lives here in the Bay Area in San Mateo. I really like how he writes about science. Listen as I read it aloud. These are his words from The Food Lab, written by J. Kenji Lopez Alt. Science is not about big words. It's not about lab coats and safety goggles, and it's definitely not about trying to make yourself sound fancy. Science is not an end in and of itself, but a path. It's a method to help you discover the underlying order of the world around you, and to use those discoveries to help you predict how things will behave in the future. The scientific method is based on making observations, keeping track of those observations, coming up with hypotheses, ideas about why something is happening, to explain those observations, and then performing tests designed to disprove your ideas. If, despite your hardest, most sincere efforts, you can't manage to disprove the hypotheses, then you can say with a pretty good deal of certainty that your hypotheses are true. That is science. What words or phrases or sentences caught your attention in his writing? For me, I liked how he said it's not about lab coats and safety goggles, and it's not about making yourself sound fancy. I like how he described it as making discoveries and using those discoveries to help you predict how things behave. He talked about keeping track of observations. He used the word hypothesis, which I've heard before in science. And then he talked about performing tests to disprove your ideas. All of that is science. Would you disagree with anything that he says? What might scientists want to find out about the foods they study? Are they going to test flavor, color, texture, reaction with different ingredients? How could they make them safer, perhaps for people with allergies? And where do you think they work? For example, do food scientists work out in the farm fields? Do they work in labs or in kitchens? Or perhaps all three and more? That's what we're going to start learning about today. So keep in mind what J. Kenji Lopez Alt says as we begin to learn more about food science. Today's learning target. I understand that if someone is trying to understand how the world works through careful observations and then testing ideas, that person is practicing science. Before we start our unit today, you will write your ideas about a food scientist testing out new ingredients in her lab by mixing them together. She tests 3 mystery substances. Substance A is a white powder of some kind. Substance B is a different white powder. So A and B are both white powders, but they are not the same. They are made of 2 different things. And substance C is some clear liquid. First, the scientist adds a spoonful of substance A to a cup of substance C. She stirs them together for 30 seconds. However, after stirring for 30 seconds, substance A settles to the bottom of the container and is still visible. Then she adds a spoonful of substance B to a new cup of substance C. So this is different from the first mixture she created. She also then stirs them together for 30 seconds. After stirring, substance B can no longer be seen within the cup. So it has disappeared or dissolved and is no longer visible in the cup. You are going to write your first ideas about why something different happened with substance A than what happened with substance B when each was mixed separately with substance C. Question: why did something different happen with substance A than with substance B when they were mixed into substance C? Be sure to explain what happened to both substances. So here's what we know happened. Substance A settled to the bottom of the container and was still visible. It sank to the bottom. Whereas in substance B, it is no longer visible mixed in with the liquid of substance C. Your job here in the green box is to explain why something different happened in each cup when they were mixed together? What happened to substance A when you mixed it in with substance C? What happened to substance B when you mixed it in with substance C? Why was that different with each of the two substances? Give your answer here. Give as much detail about your hypothesis as possible. Make sure you use evidence from the experiment to explain why different reactions occurred. Finally, on Friday, we are going to have a special science Zoom class in the afternoon. Please bring to the next class a small sample, no more than would fit in the palm of your hand, of a mystery substance in a clear container so that your classmates can see it when you hold it up to the camera. Possible ideas. These are some suggestions. You could bring some jelly or jam, honey, shampoo, conditioner, shaving cream, glue. It can be something that is liquid or solid or powder. It can be opaque, which means you cannot see through it, or it could be translucent, where you can see through it. Please make sure that you get adult permission to use whatever your mystery substance will be. Okay, there you go, folks. And that is the end of lesson 1 of modeling matter. Remember, you are going to complete the work on slides 8 and 15 and then hit turn it in, due by Friday morning at 10 a.m. You got this. Bye, everyone.